Namaste. What are your thoughts on non-binary identities? Now that masks are not mandatory, are you going to continue wearing yours? With Russia invading Ukraine, how would you feel if you were a citizen of Ukraine or even Russia? These are the conversations that we may be having at our dinner table. I want you to imagine sitting there at your dinner table and talking about one of these topics. You all have ideas and opinions brimming to the top. The discussion gets heated. How does it feel having to wait your turn to speak? Who is it in your family that generally speaks first? Or raises their voice? Or interrupts another just so they can be heard? These are the common traits in our society. And I'm sure you can relate to these traits in your family members. I know I can, but I won't say any more as they're sitting just over there. As human beings, we have this brilliant ability to cognize and formulate our opinion. This allows us to communicate and build relationships with the society. However, as human beings, we have an inability to listen. It's often said that we listen to respond rather than listening to understand. Research shows that only 10% of the population actively listen. Only 10%. I want to take you to a story when I was in Rishikesh. It was my wife's little sister's big Indian wedding. The whole family flew to Rishikesh, and we stayed at this beautiful ashram on the banks of the river Ganga, overlooking the Himalayas. Everybody was absorbing the sun, the culture, and all that family fun. All the wedding festivities were in full flow. And until it started to rain heavily. The heavens opened and you could hear the thunderstorms. And unfortunately, one of the outdoor events could not take place. Everybody was deflated. We got to the end of the day, and the close family members decided to hold a small meeting. I say small, but there was about 15 of us congregated in one bedroom. And we wanted to try and fit in this missed event into the main wedding day. For those of you who have been involved in a wedding, already know that there is no wedding day which you can fit any more into. So here was our challenge. To get us started, we ordered some chili chips and some Bombay sandwiches. Come on, we're in India. And then the discussions started to flow. There was opinions, left, right, and center, conflict. People raising their voices interrupting one another. And I'm sure nobody was actually listening. And at that point, I wanted to speak. I stayed quiet. The bride was focused on her Excel spreadsheet. Why has my day not gone to plan? She just couldn't contemplate. The groom, he was so bindas. He was like, why do we need to have this event? His mother interrupted him straight away and said, of course we have to have this event. And that was the end of that. The bride's mother, she just wanted everybody to be fed so they can be happy. The bride's father, he was fed up. We had been going on for about an hour and a half. We had to wake up in another 6 hours for the next day. He wanted to go and smoke his e-cigarette and go to sleep. And then you had the groom's father. He had so much to say. He would interrupt others. Nobody would listen to him. But he had some good ideas, but no one would listen to him. I sat in my corner, and the discussions continued. Another half an hour went, and the reason I stayed quiet was because I truly wanted to understand what everybody's ideas were. That is the only way I would be able to understand everyone's perspective. Everybody has good ideas. Well, most of us do. And these ideas come from a place of knowledge, wisdom, or experience. And until I listened, that is only when I would get that perspective. So I sat there listening. Another half an hour went. And then my uncle said, Shyam beta, what are your thoughts? And I knew at that time it was time for me to speak. And I started by summarizing what everybody was saying, and then navigating towards a resolution which was inclusive of everybody's opinion. And as I started looking around, I could see everybody nodding their heads and smiling. And at that point, I knew I was victorious. The groom's father was happy. He could finally go to sleep. The bride was happy because her Excel spreadsheet was now sorted. And the groom's father was also happy because he felt acknowledged. So, let's analyze what actually just happened here. What were the benefits of me speaking last? Well, firstly, everybody listened. And they listened because they had let their emotions out and said everything they wanted to. And so they had the capacity to listen. Secondly, as I summarized their opinions, they all felt acknowledged. And lastly, as I was inclusive of their desires and wishes, they all bought into the idea. And this all meant that the wedding day went perfectly and everyone bought into the agenda wholeheartedly. So, ladies and gentlemen, there really is an art to speaking last. And I have been nurturing this skill for a very, very long time. 10 years to be exact, since I met my wife. I am not saying it is easy, but if I can do it, I know you all can too. I want to leave you all with a challenge. I want to see if you can be the last to speak. Whether it is a social event, whether it is a work meeting, or just dinner at your table. See the benefits you reap, how your ideas manifest in society. Be the last to speak. Namaste.